Okay, well, all of you get one F word pass as long as you use the soft
I
T.
don't need to use the F word. I'm curious your
As
take
long
on
as you use the soft T.
assimilation, though. You're not really
So
answering the question
in
about assimilation. If
you keep
immigrants come from
dude, dog. Every time you accuse me of that, you've been interrupting me. All right, let me explain my position.
Why
all
are
right,
we calling you a farter? I'm so confused.
the whole black culture isn't gangster culture. I mean, that is racist as Connor. I mean,
you
to,
think that
to
was-
say
So let me be racist
God,
for another
Adam.
2 minutes.
Adam, do you really
Can
need
I
that
be
spelled out
racist?
that Connor is
Well,
not saying
listen.
every black person is gangster culture?
Oh my God! Can I just be racist for another 120 seconds?
well,
did
no,
you want me to say?
listen,
Did you want me to?
when-
Did you want me to say assimilationist versus independence? Did you want me to say one of those two and take a hard stance on one of those two, or was it okay to have an answer that say like there's parts of both that are good?
I think bring this back to CRT. This is part of one of my issues with one of the big points about CRT that keeps coming up is that because there is this focus on race consciousness and this more sort of leftist movement, is that there's a lot of anti-assimilation talk in CRT and a lot of labeling success in America as being white or whiteness. And to me, that's doing the exact opposite of what we want to do if we want to help people get out of poverty.
So I disagree with that framing. They don't say that like success is white. It's not going to be. You're not
Well,
gonna
you
find
were.
that.
I mean, even in the Delgado book, they give that example of the
the
lawyer and the music producer. Do you remember
they do
this
give
part?
that, but yes, I do. But that's not saying success is white. They're also talking about how like you're not criticizing individual people for succeeding in a system.
No,
So
but
you wouldn't call success white, and you wouldn't blame any individual succeeding under a system.
well, no,
But
but
how
they,
you achieve success?
but they do because that
No, they don't.
section
They
with
don't.
that section
incorrect.
comparing. Well, hold
Let
on.
him
that
explain,
section-
Justin.
That
Fuck.
section comparing the two people is they're talking about how different people in CRT feel about assimilation, and they give like 4 points of view on it. And one of the points of view is kind of like, yeah, some people think it's okay to be the black lawyer who maybe has mostly white clients, but the other three all think that he's basically a race traitor. Obviously they say it in nicer ways, but there is this overwhelming anti-assimilation attitude.
You just said that they offered multiple points of view, and you're trying to say one of them is true.
Jangles, do you have a position? What's your position on assimilation?
Not only did you try to say one of them was true, despite the fact that there were four, you said, the other three are basically calling him a race traitor. No, why? If the word's enough, if what they say is enough to impugn them, why do you have to introduce this race? Why do you have to?
Well, I don't have to. I don't
because
I can't read the whole page because I don't have it in front of me.
I have it in front of me.
Jangles, the reason why it's frustrating is because it's a shitty position. So, for instance, like I forget that guy's name, but like Taka-Nisi Coates or whatever the fuck his name
Ta-Nehisi
is.
Coates.
Yeah,
Taka-Nisi Coates is close though.
Well,
whatever.
before we move on, counterpoints, can we get Jangles' position on assimilation just while we're here?
Assimilation. So I don't have a whole lot of experience in like black culture on account of can you see me? But I do agree, like from my own experiences, that like LGBT culture, there's some stuff like that I really appreciate. There's some stuff I think is awesome, and I do think that like this is where I see the struggle, and I'm going to frame it through my own experience as a gay man. Is that okay? I know it's not going to exactly be a one-to-one ratio.
It's only allowable if they can call you the F word.
Okay, all of you get one F word pass as long as you use the soft.
I don't need to use the F word. I'm curious your take on assimilation, though. You're not really answering the question about assimilation. If immigrants come from
dog, every time you accuse me of that, you've been interrupting me. All right, let me explain my position.
Why are we calling you a farter? I'm so confused.
There you go. So I'm framing it through my experience here. So we had to do a lot of assimilation in order to like gain our rights that we did. All right, so we had to say that we're just like the straight people. There's no difference between us, and that to make the straight people feel more comfortable with us in order to like let us like have our rights. And I can see that's useful, and a lot of us are just like straight people. However, those differences aren't bad. Like saying that like gay people don't want to get married, we don't have kids, like we like being bachelors for all our lives. That's sort of a part of gay culture, and that shouldn't be looked down upon. Expressing ourselves to like these big gender things, like a lot of gay people will like dress as straight passing as they possibly could, despite the fact that like they felt better with their self-expression wearing more flamboyant clothing. But that was considered like that's the LGBT culture versus the assimilationist that gets our rights. I'm not saying one of those is correct, but I'm saying that it's useful to have a dialogue between those two things.
Well, I'm asking you your position though, not to have a dialogue between two individuals. I'm asking your position on assimilation, not whether or not we should talk about assimilation.
you understand that my position can be nuanced. It can be both.
Well, it can also be not unanswered. So maybe we should move on.
No, no, we're gonna stick on this. No, this is 3 times.
This is why. This is bullshit.
No,
this is where the bullshit comes from, Jangles. This is why I'm accusing you of bullshit, because you're not answering. You're saying my position is really nuanced. I can't necessarily take a position because it's so big brain nuance. Oh my god, my brain's so huge here.
I want to allow Adam to keep speaking. Like this is my best position. Just let him keep speaking.
Connor, he's not going to answer the question. Can we just move on?
I literally just did.
I'm gonna say what Jangles said, but I'm gonna say it differently because I understand like when he goes on a longer when he goes on a longer diatribe, it feels dodgy, but I actually feel like there's a real answer.
Because he dodged. He didn't answer the question. Why are you simping for Jangles here?
Because we're friends.
He's the Jangles translator. Okay?
So anyways, yeah, so let me give my answer and then see if Jangles agrees with it. So for instance, like I think there's important parts of American culture. Like I am a civic nationalist. I think that there are core fundamental principles of the United States that everybody should subscribe to in order to call themselves American. And these principles and virtues are important and they should be promoted within society.
God bless America.
Yes. I think there's some aspects of I'll just go ahead and get accused of racism or there are some aspects of the Black community that are toxic, and there's some aspects of the Black community that are overwhelmingly positive.
Name 7 toxic ones.
That's bad.
Okay, hold on. So if I was to just be open with my opinion, I think gangster culture.
Let me.
John was trolling you. You don't actually.
Adam is just.
You got to make the distinction. Like the whole Black culture isn't gangster culture. I mean that is racist as fuck, Connor. I mean to say.
Let me be racist for another 2 minutes.
Adam, do you really need to spell out that Connor is not saying
listen,
every Black person is gangster culture?
Oh my God! Can I just be racist for another 120 seconds? Holy shit!
Technically, we have more inward passes, Connor. So
let me hang myself with my own rope.
Listen, you can be as racist as you want, but before you do, I'm just gonna say, here's the Sitch and Adam show. We do not promote.
Yeah, we don't promote racism.
Okay, go be racist.
Okay. So generally speaking, I don't know if that makes it any better. I would say that the popularity of gangster culture or gangster narratives within the Black community is toxic and shitty, particularly within hip hop culture. I think it's toxic and shitty. I think that while an element of like that can always exist and perpetuate, the degree to which it's emphasized it sucks. But I do think calling out a positive, one of the positive things that I think is cool about, like Black culture as I've interacted with it, is basically like super aggressive, familial loyalty. And so that's actually a cultural difference because I'm from a Yankee family. Hold on. I'm from a Yankee family, so I'm from the Northeast. In the Northeast, if you make like a cultural or social faux pas, or if you pick the wrong job, you can be socially ostracized from your family. You can literally, I've had family members shit talk me because I decided to become a law enforcement officer. I had family members shit talk me because I became a member of the military because I was picking up like peasant work, basically. So what I saw when I was interacting with my Black friends is a certain amount of like intrafamilial loyalty that went past basically like vocational goals or achievements or anything like that. And even if a family member was a piece of shit, there was still a certain amount of loyalty that can be toxic sometimes, but was still something that I thought was like an earnest, communal, loving vibe. And so that's what I would say is when we're talking about like assimilationism versus kind of like independence or whatever, I think the toxic independence that I resent is when you say that you shouldn't be assimilationist at all and you should destroy the dominant culture in order to replace it with your own. Fuck that shit. I'm a fucking liberal. So what I would say is if you want to take the positive aspects of your culture and bring that to the gumbo or melting pot of America, that's awesome. But there's also certain things that we think are incredibly valuable that you should prescribe to and should be culturally enforced. Whether that's through the legislature or through education, I 100% agree with that. So to wrap it up with Jangles' nuanced answer, There's some things that should or need to be assimilated, and there's some things that don't matter because they're a cool part of the subculture that is independent of the mainstream culture.
I would agree with 90% of that, with the one caveat that I do think it's okay to critique what is considered toxic within your culture, especially if it's come by someone outside your culture, which I don't think Connor would disagree with anyway. Now, Adam,
yes,
was that an okay?
I'm racist.
Is that an okay answer?
Well,
did
no,
you want me to
listen,
say? Did you want me to say assimilationist versus independence? Did you want me to say one of those two and take a hard stance on one of those two, or was it okay to have an answer that say like there's parts of both that are good?
You can give us percentages.
I objected to Counterpoints categorizing the black community as fucking gangster. Like that's pretty fucking racist, dude.
Okay, you can do that.
For your input.
Okay, you can call me racist, but you're kind of like arguing with, I don't know, pop culture, hip hop. Like you're arguing with like dominant facets of our culture.
That's like saying meth culture is white culture.
Love potatoes and alcohol and fighting. Yeah, it's kind of
Connor's.
Listen.
Clear racism aside, is it okay?
I don't want to get into.
Is it okay to say that there's parts of like assimilationism that are fine? There are parts of like trying to maintain your independence for the dominant.
Let me be homophobic real quick. Gay people love to fuck.
Okay. How's that homophobic?
What?
That's awesome.
Oh my.
All right, so like we
wait,
Sean,
do you not?
Sean.
Not as much as y'all do.
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.